So you have now touched the land of the Providence Island. This Providence Island is the origin of today's Liberia. This was where Liberia started from. This was where the free slaves who came from the US in the 1820 first landed. But before their arrival, this land was already occupied by indigenous people. Particularly, those were the Gola people. G-O-L-A, Gola, the Gola people were living here. So the Gola people originally called this Providence Island Dozwa Island in the Gola vernacular, which means a land surrounded by water. So when the free slaves came from the US and they asked the Gola people to stay here, and when the Gola people permitted them to stay here, they were the one that changed the name to an English name, and first thing they called it Perseverance Island. Why? Because they were English-speaking people. They said Perseverance Island. Why? Because that they had persevered from a long way. Because before their arrival from the US, the first area they landed was Shelburne Island, and Shelburne Island is somewhere in Sierra Leone today. But when they were on Shelburne Island, most of them died from malaria because there were lots of mosquitoes. So most of them died from malaria, and the place was not conducive for them. So they decided to leave the place to find somewhere else. So they had some agents, representative of the ACS, the American Colonization Society. Some of those agents decided to find somewhere else. Those of them were like Ella Aries, Ebenezer Abodget, Judy Aspon, where you got Aspon Street named in honor of Judy Aspon today. So those guys moved on to find somewhere else, and they came and found this place. And they brought the slaves, they had free slaves here. So the few times they lived here, the place was conducive for them, it was better for them. So they said, we have persevered from a long way, so this place shall be called Perseverance Island. But as time went by, they also decided to change the name again and call it Providence Island in honor of God Almighty. Why? Because they were Christians. So they called it Providence Island. The name appears today.
Liberia have 15 counties. Out of the 15 counties, we have 16 ethnic groups, which is 1/6. 1/5 is the 15 county. So this is the Gola marks, and also this is the Pele marks. So those marks were on the face to make those African Americans afraid and kill them too when they had a fight, right? So they are meeting after the dispute to have a reconciliation. Say, look, let everything finish. We are all one people. Let's have a one saying. So this is where you see so. It's a symbol of reconciliation between the two groups.
The idea behind the erection of this monument. So at the end of the day, because it will not complete, we're not going to detail. For come what may, the little information we got about this one is also focusing on traditional dances and what our traditional people use for traditional performances. In here, you will see what we call the duduma, the animal horn. That's animal horn, and this one is special kind of something made of the animal tail, the cow tail. The cow tail, and that is the horn. We use it many a time to make music, to produce music. That is there. And also you see along his side, this one along his side you see the little bag, the little gem bag. So these are all indigenous people. Somebody from the farm, these are all indigenous people. And this is focusing on the coming of the American Liberians. So this is particularly focusing like when the American Liberian came, they were received by the indigenous, happily received by the indigenous, and they all lived in coexistence to form today's Liberia. So this was the returnees or the free slave from America, and these were indigenous coming to receive them, and they all met and collaborated and formed to this Liberia. This is a replica of the Mayflower. The Mayflower is one of the ships that brought the free slaves from America to Liberia. The first ship that came to Liberia was known as the Queen Elizabeth. So the Mayflower is one of those. There was another one called the Nautilus, the Navigators. All the ones brought free slaves to Liberia at different points in time. So this was one of them. But particularly this is the Mayflower, replica of the Mayflower. It's a canal. The history of the canal is focused on a lady called Matilla Nippo. Matilla Nippo is one of the persons that was one of the 7 ladies that made the Liberian flag today. So the Liberian flag was produced by 7 ladies. Matilla Nippo is one of those ladies. Matilla Nippo was one of the pioneers of the US. Matilla Nippo was a lady that is remembered for shooting the canal to fend away offenders that were coming to fight against the settlers. So this is the canal, the replica of the canal that was shot by Matilla Nippo, where you lay the fire from here and then it shoots. So this is the canal.
The ship Elizabeth that brought the first 88 immigrants from the United States of America. And also this is the canal. So before the arrival of the settlers, right, there was a dispute between the locals and the settlers. So there is a woman called Matilla Nippo. She was the first female who has taken the bravery to have struck one shot of this weapon to make the indigenous people afraid. So some of them call spears and they start running away, right? So it is the replica of the canal.
This place is the position where the free slaves that first led them, first they built their first home at this point. You know, when the settlers came, our indigenous had their own style of building homes. They used what you may call round poles, they used what you may call the bamboo stake, they used another one they call the raffia and other stuff, palm leaf, palm tree, palm straw, and then they used different kind of stuff to build homes. And then most of the homes that were built were like what we call the Palawa hut. It looked like the Palawa hut. That was the indigenous style of building home. But when the settlers came, they had their own design. They also introduced what you call cement, and they also began to use a log. They called the log and they piled over each other. And so in Liberia, we call it a Congo house. So they built a form of Congo house that was completely different from that the style of the indigenous. So this was where they first introduced their first building, the indigenous. So you will also see the remnant of the steps. So if you look at the steps, this was the steps that they used back then. So back then they would bring the vehicle, the kino or whatever you call the boat, they park it there, and then they walk here and they enter in their house. So this place was a place of the homes of the settlers.
This cottage you see this one, this was planted as a result of this falling. So the 15th county zone, right? The 15th county zone, ZOE, there was the one who planted this zone. The head of that zone is called Honorable Chief Zanzan Kawa. So it was planted January 7, 2022. So under the street, there was a traditional handshake between the settlers and the indigenous people. So here I will do the handshake. I will teach you the handshake and then you people will see it, right? It was a symbolic. So you're going to shake my hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's when she was done under the cottage tree.
This point is the well that was dug by the settlers, the free slaves, and returned to Liberia. So when they first came, you know, they came with lots of water from America, something similar like mineral water. But after a certain point of time, the water got finished, and the time they would take to import water from America to this place it was time consuming. So they thought, what can we do? So they decided to dig a well. So they dug this well. This was the first well that was dug in Liberia. It was dug 1822. They did it 1822. So,
and it's still working.
Yeah, it's still working. It's still perfect. Still perfect. Yes.
And it's drinkable water
It's
for you.
drinkable. It's very drinkable. It's drinkable. Yeah. It's drinkable. Yeah. It's a good water. Yeah. It doesn't go dry. Oh no. Yeah. Even drink fast, it doesn't go dry. Yeah. This was the water. Yes, it's clean water.
Yeah, it looks very clean.
Yes.
Very clean.
Welcome to the Peace Tree. The Peace Tree was built or created by a man, this is his name, called Manfred Zinnig, from the sort. So they were established somewhere 2011. This was focusing on the 14 years of civil unrest in Liberia. Now, after the 14 years, when ECOMA came, later on called ECO Mill, from ECO Mill it was transitioned to On-Mill. Thank you. When On-Mill came, they conducted election, and after the election, or before the election, they decided to carry disarmament process. So during the disarmament process, they decided to do something that will make us remember what happened to us. So they decided to bring forth what they call the Peace Tree, where they use the remnant of arms to form this one. If you look here, you are going to see that these are remnant of arms. This is RPG, remnant of RPG. And if you look here, you see remnant of different arms, AK-47 and rest of the other arms. That's what we'll see here.
So they were sponsored by Save the Children for UK London, August 12, 2011, by a German man called Manfred. So the reason this thing was erected is to tell the international partner or the guests that look, there was no reason for which we fought 14 years civil war. It was senseless. Today it is because of the 14 years civil war we fought. There are a lot of things that we're supposed to do as a nation and we are beyond time. So this is what I'm telling you, this is what caused our country today. It's called the Peace Tree. These are different guns, images put together, made up of tree. So when you look at the emblem there, you see the German guy name. So it is called the Peace Tree.